Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a really important topic that affects so many young people. Recognizing the early warning signs of partner abuse. We're going to break down some recent research that looks at how young men and women see these signs differently. This is crucial information, especially for those of you around 18 to 25. Because this is a time of big life changes, new independence, and figuring out what you want in a relationship. First, let's define what we're talking about. Intimate partner abuse, or IPA, isn't just physical. It can be emotional, psychological, sexual, or even financial control. The impact is serious, leading to issues like anxiety, depression, PTSD, and in the worst cases, can be fatal. Statistics from places like Australia show that about 1/3 of young people have experienced physical violence in a relationship. The 18 to 25 age group, often called emerging adulthood, sees the highest rates of this abuse. It's a time of exploration, but that vulnerability can sometimes lead to unhealthy situations. So, how does abuse start? It often begins with subtle behaviors, what researchers call warning sign behaviors, or WSBS. These are the red flags that pop up early on, hinting at the potential for future abuse. Over 90% of young people in relationships have actually encountered at least one of these. Let's break them down into three main categories. First, there's dominance and possessiveness. This is when a partner tries to control you, shows extreme jealousy, or constantly monitors your activities, like who you're with or where you're going. The second category is denigration. This is all about verbal put-downs, constant criticism, and humiliation. It's behavior designed to make you feel small and worthless. It chips away at your self-esteem and makes you question yourself. The third category is conflict and retaliation. This involves threats, intimidation, or aggressive reactions whenever you disagree. Instead of talking through a problem, they might yell, punch a wall, or threaten to break up with you to get their way. These three categories, dominance, possessiveness, denigration, and conflict retaliation, are the building blocks that can escalate into more severe abuse. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. A major study found that men and women perceive these warning signs very differently. Overall, young women tend to view all types of these behaviors as more serious than young men do. Both men and women agreed that the most serious category was conflict retaliation. Things like threats and intimidation are pretty hard to ignore. But the difference in the other two categories was huge. When it came to dominance, possessiveness, and denigration, a lot of guys just didn't see them as major problems. In fact, only about 1/3 of the young men in the study rated these behaviors as very serious. This is a massive gap in perception. Why does this gap exist? There are a few reasons. Culture plays a big role. Think about how technology normalizes some of these behaviors. Constantly checking your partner's location or social media might be seen by some as just checking in, not as a controlling red flag. Another huge factor is our cultural ideas about romance. Movies and songs often portray jealousy as a sign of passionate love, rather than a sign of possessiveness. If you're taught that jealousy means your partner really cares, you're less likely to see it as a warning sign. Gender expectations also come into play. Traditional ideas about how men and women should act in relationships can blind people to controlling behaviors. For example, a man being protective might actually be him being controlling, but it gets framed in a more positive light. This normalization is dangerous because it lets these early warning signs slide. Because these signs are often so subtle at the start, they get overlooked or explained away. We might think, oh, they're just having a bad day. or they're just really protective because they love me. It's usually only when the behavior becomes more obvious and aggressive, like the conflict and retaliation we talked about, that both partners start to recognize it as a serious problem. But by then, the unhealthy pattern is already established and much harder to escape. So, let's get specific about the signs you need to watch for. Is your partner excessively monitoring where you are and who you're with? Do they demand your passwords or constantly check your phone? That's a huge red flag for dominance possessiveness. What about denigration? Do they make comments that put you down, even if they say they're just joking? Do they criticize your friends, your family, or your goals? That's not okay. And with conflict retaliation, pay attention to how they handle disagreements. Do they resort to threats, intimidation, or giving you the silent treatment to punish you? Healthy relationships involve respect, even when you disagree. Recognizing these signs early is the absolute key to preventing a relationship from becoming abusive. It's about being able to step back and say, "Wait a minute, this doesn't feel right." Setting healthy boundaries is your next step. This means knowing what you will and will not accept in a relationship, and communicating that clearly. And please, never be afraid to seek support. Talking to someone you trust can make all the difference. This brings us to prevention and resources. Early recognition is the best prevention. We need more education and open conversations about this, especially to help young men better recognize the seriousness of controlling and denigrating behaviors. Building healthy relationships requires skills. You need to be able to spot problematic behaviors, understand your own rights within a relationship, and feel confident enough to assert your boundaries. You also have the right to make conscious, deliberate decisions about who you commit to. Don't let anyone rush you or pressure you. If you or someone you know is dealing with any of this, please know that help is available. You can talk to a school counselor or find a community support service in your area. There are fantastic online resources that teach about healthy relationships, and we'll link some in the description below. If you're in a crisis or feel unsafe, please call a support hotline. They are there to help you 24/7. Learning to spot these warning signs isn't about being paranoid. It's about being empowered to build the safe, loving, and respectful relationships you deserve. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more content on building a healthy and happy life. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.